All right. So whatever we have discussed till yesterday, like we discussed few points about the Appian objects that we might be creating in terms of our application development. So we talk about the data type, data store, and record type. Any questions here? Shall we move to the next topics? Just we are just going giving you the overview of all these objects, what it is, and what the purpose. But definitely we are going to more in details when we will start the actual development. Yeah. So yeah, any questions till this point? What is the data type, data store, and record type?
Yeah, no question. No.
Correct. Okay, the next is a process model. Uh, when I say the process model, if you remember, while talking about the BPM, right, business process management, we talk about the processes, the way of doing a work, the way of doing a requirement, how you want to process your data, from which flow you want to divert your flow, to take any decision point or not. So that's what we do into the process. So process model will something look like, let me show you that, so decide which point of time where you want to move, how you want to process your data, what you want to do with your data. Say for example, we have in the process owner, we will have a start node and then we will have an end node. So from start to end, to go from the start to end, what are the things you want to do in between? If I talk about some bigger process model, let me show you that. Maybe let's say for example this one. So here you can see that we are starting, we are displaying a UI, and then we're taking a decision that user has click on cancel or submit. Based on that, we took a decision, and then if user has click on cancel, we straight away go to the end node. And then if user has taken submit, then we come to this part and write the data to the table. And then we also call a sub process here, which is a nothing but a process manager processes, right? And then here in the manager process, we generate a task, and then when the task is get submitted, we update a database. So likewise, what action has been taken by the user, and what in what way you want to process your data, how you want to traverse your data from start to end, that is what we define under the process model. Okay, clear? We'll go in more in detail, so don't worry about that. But yeah, just talking about that. All right. Now let's go to the next point, that we have process report. Okay, so you guys have remembered that whenever I open this monitor mode, you can see there is something in the process model. We have something here, like if you can't see it here, let me show you in the overview. Under the monitor mode, if you go to here, we see these details, right? This is a process details. So whenever we execute a process model in the backend, each process model executes an instance in the backend, right? These all are nothing but an instance of a process model. So whenever we initiate any action, that we create an instance into the backend. So each instance will have some data, right, related to that particular action has been taken, when it has been started, what are the data it has within it, the task is assigned to whom, and when this process model has been ended, what is the current status of the process. So such kind of, who has started the process, right? Such kind of information we have it in the backend of your Appian memory. So if you want to generate a report out of it, we can create a process report. Okay, got it? All right. Now, if we talk about the other application, I mean other objects, then we have robotic task. So this is, as I said, this is comes under the RPA. If you are going to implement RPA concept here, any robotic task, then you can use this one. So we are not going to touch this part because this is a part of the RPA course. Same as for the robot tool. So these two objects has been introduced in Appian, I think in the second last release. So this is very new to the Appian now. Even I need to get a course of this one and then complete this one. I haven't started the RPA yet. All right. The most commonly used object is the interface. Interface is nothing like it is like whatever UI you want to create for your purpose, like for like taking an input from the user, or taking displaying some information. For all those things, we will require an interface. So how an interface will look like? An interface is like, if you want to create an interface, we need to give the name of the interface and save in a such in any folder. Like we will be creating a repository within the Appian. Like here we want to have some expression rule and interface rule, whatever we are going to objects we are going to create, those will be put into a folder. So this again is another object of the Appian. So we'll see that. If you want to see any example of the UI interface, so if you open any one of them, you can see this is a UI that we can create. And in Appian, you do not have to write a code for all your UI design. You can simply drag and drop and then create an interface for yourself. For example, if I remove this everything here, now if I, let's say if I want to create an interface here by using the drag and drop. So let's say I first of all I want to have a form. If I design, drag and drop a form here, we can see the form has been designed. Now I want to divide this form into multiple sections, multiple columns. So I'll just say multiple columns here. And within the multiple columns, we want to have multiple fields. So let's say I want to have a text field here. I want to have another text field here. So likewise, we can drag and drop the fields here, and then it will create a UI for us. Now in the second column, let's say if I want to have um, a drop down, so I'll just drag and drop a drop down field here. And let's say if we also want to have a radio button into the third field, we drag and drop the radio button here. If I want to have any file upload, so that's also we can drag and drop it here. So if we do like this, our UI will be ready. No, we do not have to write any single line of code. Everything will be ready. If you go to the expression mode, so any interface has two modes, design and expression. Under the design mode, you can drag and drop the objects and design your interface. If you go to the expression mode, you can see the code designed for this one. So this is the code that it has designed, and we do not have to write any single line of code here. You can also declare the variables directly from the design mode from here itself, on the panel, and then define everything here. Okay, so that's how the Appian is very quick. That's why the Appian, if you imagine about the Java or C and .NET, you need to write a code for each thing here. So that's why people say that a basic site designing may take a week in the basic languages, right? But using Appian, you can do it within like half an hour or 1 hour. You will be ready with some good UIs and then basic process of your application aside. So that's how the quicker is the Appian is. So drag and drop feature is available to give you the almost code for your design. You just have to do some configuration. Yeah, is that clear?
Hello, Ravi. Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, good morning. Actually, just wanted to know the expression language a exclaimed and text field. That's what is it? A exclaimed exclamation. What is the prefix?
These are
What is it?
the prefix. These are the prefix of any say anything that we are going to use here is kind of a function. Like a when text field is a function, right? Inside that function, we are calling this parameters to fulfill the requirement of a text field. So a bank is nothing but a prefix for your interface object. You see, all the interface objects are starting from the a bank,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like if we want to have form layout, we are starting from the a bank. Columns layout, we are starting from a bank. Likewise, there will be some mathematical functions always we will be using, so that will be go as a fn. Like if we are going to use some looping function, then we can use an fn, and you don't have to worry about it. You do not have to remember all these things, right? Why? Let's say
Mhm.
I want to have one more text field and beneath the file upload. Okay, I'll just say uh, text field. Okay, it will give you the option. If you tab out, it will automatically take the a bank. You don't have to remember where do I need to put a bank, or you just have to think about what kind of field is required. If you want to a text
O-
field, just start typing, it will give the suggestion. Okay,
mhm. Okay. And one more thing. What will be the coding language for this UI?
so
So
that is called
that,
SAIL, self
oh,
assembled
okay,
interface language.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
I thought that must be JavaScript or what. No issues.
no, it's a SAIL. As in the demo class also I mentioned that it's a SAIL language. SAIL, self assembled interface language. It's inbuilt programming language for Appian. However, this is very much similar to the Java coding, right? Because the Appian itself has been built in the Java. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, please continue.
No. Thank you. All right. So this is about the interface. We will be creating a lot of interfaces in our learning purpose. So we'll see that. And then we have a report. We see this process report, right? This process report is basically when we want to build a report out of the inbuilt internal memory of the Appian, from where we want to have a process details, like when the process has been started. But as the name suggests, it's a process report. So whatever the process is running in the behind, we will fetching the report data from there and building a report out of it. This will be required basically for your to create a task report. If you want to have a task in Appian, we have a tempo, right? The first shoot there, we do not have to use this process report because the task will be displayed under your task bucket. But if you want to go to the site, in the site we do not have a concept called task in tab there, right? So we have to build it from the scratch. And if you want to build it from the scratch, then we will require this process report to display the task related information. However, this report is based on your data, whatever data you are building, like say in a month, how many requests has been raised, or what is the flow of your request has been created, what how number of submitted requests, number of based on the status. If you want to filter out the report and you want to display in by using a pie chart or bar chart or line chart, you can create an interface object out of it, and then we can have this report objects created where we will require to include that interface, and it will be displayed under your tempo page. The third front end, as I said, site is basically used for any specific application. As we have seen an example of the sites, it will so user will not have to use on the tempo pages. And then portal, as we discussed as well, the portals are basically an object where we have to publish this portal. So user do not require any authentication to log into the portal. They can simply use this portal but without any login credentials. It's basically a site information. If you want to publish any information about your company, you can create a portal, and then if you want to give some tracking mechanism there, you can do that. So portals will not expose your entire Appian features. Very limited features it can expose to outsource, so that no one can hack the system or no one can misuse the system. So it's like only limited information will be available to the users because they are not going to be authenticated, right? So very limited information will be exposed to this portal. Any question in the interface front end objects? Is that clear? All right.
Yes, please continue.
Okay. Now we have an expression rule, and expression rules are the, we can say, the supportive rules. Is kind of, you can say, to uh, do some calculation or manipulate your data or make a query. If you want to do such kind of information to segregate your rule, right, like type of set of action, or if you want to create your own function. Let's say for example, if I want to pass two data to a rule and then I'll bring out the output from there as addition or subtraction, we can create an expression rule which will require two data as an input, and then we do whatever we want to process with the data, and then in the return we want to back the data. So we can create an expression rule. We can see it's a supportive rule which can help you to bring the data. Let's say if you want to create a query rule which will be fetching your data from the database, so we need to create a query rule out of it, and then we can make reuse of this expression rule all the places, so that we can have whatever data is required. So basically it is used for a data calculation and manipulation of your data. Okay, for example, if I want to show you, let's say these are the expression rule that we have created. So here you can see we can pass the name and age, right? For example, we are passing the name and age here, and then we want to have some data. Let's say if I say if I want to pass name as Ram, come on. Okay. If I want to pass the name as Ram and if I want to pass an age as 25, and here if I want an output from this rule is that ri name and then ampersand is and then ampersand ri age. So, okay, if I want to click on the test the rule, it will say that Ram age is 25. If you want to have some more space here, so if I click on this slide. So basically, whatever data we want to pass and what we want to do with the data, we can do that and we can get it returned from this rule. Don't worry about this RI and all. I'll come to this one. So we wanted to make this rule as a dynamic, so we created some rule inputs to it. So that rule input is called RI. So we will learn this in the local variables concept. All the variables concept where we see the what is the local variable, what are the rule inputs, and we will learn that. But it's just the expression rules are. It doesn't need any input as well. If you want to have, let's say, I'll say 5 plus 5. I do the 5 plus 5 and then click on the text tool, I will be getting the result. If I say 5 plus 5, let's say we are going to cover this in a bracket and then I'll say into again 5 or what any number, we will get the result. So basically this is behave as a panel where you pass the value and then you can get the output of it. Okay. So that's about the expression rule. Again, the AI
Ravi,
skill. Yeah.
but interface also you said like there also we are writing the code as style code and
Hmm.
here process model also expression model also here also we have to
Yeah.
write the style code where
Hmm.
we have to combine these two and how to use like
Yeah, we'll see that how to we use, and then I'm just giving you the concept. Now imagine everything you
okay
are writing into the interface objects, right? Now, let's
okay
say
okay
example, everything you are going to write into the interface objects, how your code will look like,
okay
what will be the readability of your code, right? It will be very messy because everything is there. So we should be also design our objects in a such a way that the readability should be very good, right? If any other developer open the rules, they can clearly understand what has been written and what we need to call. So how do we bring the data, as you said, right? How we can mix these two things and bring that work, make it work, right? So we can call a set of information. Let's say, for example, from the user I want to take an input, let's say first input as a 5, second input as a 10, and then we will create a rule where we can pass this information and then bring the output. Let's say we're going to create a rule, expression rule called get the calculation. So what happens that we will pass those two numbers and then we can get the calculations out of it, right, from the expression rule. So that rule can be reused at multiple places. Let's say if someone else also want to reuse that rule, they can do that. If we write everything into the same code, the code will become very messy at some point of time, right? So that's why we designing our interface or process model short and simple so that we can also reuse it and the code readability is also good. Yeah.
yeah okay
Right. So next is the AI skills. Again, this is a part of the robotic process, so we are not going to touch this part. And then we have a decision. So decision table object is like let's say if I ask you, um, we have 5 members and then we want to uh, you know um, we want to make a comparison out of 5 members, like let's say we want to say that if the member name is Ram, uh, then return the first letter as R. If the member name is Mohan, then return the first letter as M. Or the member name is Shohan, then return the first letter S. Likewise, something like this, or if anything else you wanted to have it. So if I ask you to how do you write this logic, what will come into your mind? If someone has done the programming, if I want to have some nested conditions, like if this to make a comparison of, like, let's say 5 member or 10 data sets. So what logic you comes into your mind? Or let's say, for example, we have 10 data, let's say 5,000, 10,000, 15, 20, 25,000, right? We have a data of 10. If the date, if I say, if the, let's say this is the salary, let's say if the salary is less than 5,000, return me low, if salary is equal to less than 10,000, return the medium. If salary is less than and equal to 15,000, return good. Likewise, the concept I want to return. So what will come into your mind? I'm not asking the coding language. If you can also give me the pseudo code, like say whatever logic you are thinking about it, how you will do that. Anyone? Someone might have from the background, data coding background. So how you will achieve this thing? Hamza, Gaurav, Vivek, anyone? Is it question is clear?
We can use if condition, right? If this is the
We
amount,
need to,
then
we can use the if condition. So like how many if will be required there if there are 5 data?
at least 4, and you can just bypass the last one is the else condition.
Yeah, so now imagine 100. So how many if condition will require, right? Imagine the code
Mm,
readability, imagine the
yeah.
complexity of the code, right? Nested if it will go
Hmm.
long beyond the code, right? And the line number of line of codes will also increase, right? So
Yeah,
to
definitely.
overcome this issue, the Appian has come up with the concept of decision table. In the decision table, what we can do is that we can nicely design our code in a visibility pattern that we can do in that way. Let's say I'll say input here. If I say the 5,000, if I say it's a 5,000, and it's here, let me make this input as right now it's a text. Let's see, I'll make it as a number integer. Okay. Now, if I say if my first input as 5,000 and then it is less than equal to this, then return be low. Okay, we can define it here. Now, if I say if my input is less than 10,000, then we can say it's a medium, right? So you see how the code is going to be designed here. It's very nicely user can by seeing itself they can understand. Okay, like for example, let me do that. If I go with the 15,000, I want to return it's a good or average. If it is less than equal to 20,000, then it's a good. Otherwise, I want to say it's the best salary in the market. Okay. Now let's say if I pass 5,000 here. So what I'm going to get is that low. My salary is a low, right? So I do not have to write any if condition here, right? Internally, everything is getting handled. This is a nice way as a table representation of your data, and then how do we bring the rate output of it, right? So that's how we can organize our code in a nice pattern so that the code readability is also nice. So that's the use of the decision table. Okay, got it? Any question?
Yeah, is this decision table is in static in nature, means all this condition we need to provide at the time of
Yes, we need to
development.
provide the condition, right? So we do not need to write the if conditions for all of the things. We should be having in a such a way that it can by looking itself you can understand what the logic is being to be handled inside, right? So it's a
Yeah.
static because if condition is also static. You have to give the if condition. See anything in the coding as at the last point. If you see the if you go to the beginning of the source of the code is going to be static. A computer can't imagine anything, right? Whatever it is doing and decision it is taking, it's taking based on the code or based on the decision that we have given to them. Right? Yeah. All right. Now it's a constant. Someone has asked me the use of the constants yesterday. So what is the use of a constant? Okay. Now let's say in our application, we are let's say for example, um, in our we have created an application called leave management application. Okay, leave management, leave leave management. Okay, so everywhere wherever you are seeing this application, we are seeing leave management. Let's say it's approx 25 places we are displaying that leave management. Okay, Now, business comes one day and they say that, I don't like the word leave management. I would like to have leave application, right? So what will come into your mind, and what do you think, what changes you need to make? Let's say we have 25 places this word is displayed. Hmm? In the UI, we have displayed this leave management, all the 25 places. So if business comes one day and they say that, no, I want to be displayed as a leave application, what changes you need to do, and how many objects we need to modify?
First approach that we need to change explicitly in all 25 places manually. That is the thing.
Exactly. So
And
that's the thing. Why? Because we might have used this direct text all the places, so we have to change all the 25 places. Now, imagine instead of doing that, we have created a constant. Okay, and that in the constant we have defined the word leave management. A constant can be of many types. It can be a text, number, integer, folder, or the process model, any type. It can be any object type that we have in Appian. But let's say we have defined an constant of the type of text, and in that constant we have defined the word leave management. And all the 25 places we have used this constant. So all the places it is displaying as a leave management. Now business says that I want to use as a leave application. Now what do you think? How many places we want to make change? We need to make change.
only one place.
Only one place, and that would be the constant. If you change the constant from leave management to leave application, all the places will be reflecting the same changes. So that's what the use of a constant. Okay.
Whether this constant have any scope or this all constant will have a global scope that will be available throughout the application.
Yeah, it will be available throughout your application. It's not like within any particular rule. If you are going to
Okay.
use a constant within your application, it can be used anywhere of the application, right?
Okay.
That is the one of the use. Now, second use is that there are certain functions in Appian which will require a particular type. Let's say if I want to save an uploaded document, whatever the document user is going to upload, I want to save that to a particular folder. So if I pass a folder name to that particular function, that will not work. Why? Because that function will require the type as a folder, right? So if the type is a folder and we are going to type, we are going to give the name of that particular folder, the function will not work. It will say that, come on, I want a type as a folder, but you are giving a text. In that case, what we need to do is that we need to create a constant of type folder and then select the folder there. Okay. So now that constant will refer to that particular folder, and that constant we need to use inside that function so that it can match with the type. So that's why I said a constant can be of any type. Let's say, for example, here you can see these are the type of a constant: application, boolean, connected system, data, store entity, date and time, all those objects that you can think of in Appian, you can create a constant of that particular type. Okay, so that is the we'll see all those use, but that are the use of the constant. Is that clear?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Now, Appian also gives you the three objects: connected system, integration, and APIs. These are the basically object which is used to connect with a third party. If in Appian we are not going to just use the our you know within the Appian development. If you want to have something to bring from the third party, if you want to expose something to the third party, we may need to use this connected system, integration, and API. So what is an integration? First of all, integration is that, like, suppose if you want to bring the data from third party to Appian, there are certain data where you want to pass some information and bring some data, or without any passing anything, if you want to bring some data by using get method, we can create an integration object, and inside that integration object we will be fetching the information from third party and we can display it here. Likewise, if you want to expose your Appian data to the third party, we need to create an API, right? So we have to create a service for this one, and then we have to publish that service by using this API. So it will also generate a UPS URL and authentication mechanism we will see there. how do we allow them to authenticate themselves and then uh, put the data, expose the data of our Appian to third party. All right, any question here? We will be seeing this one.
Can you just show any integration example if it is readily available?
Let me check. I should be in last training. I would have done some integration example. Mm. So there are some freely available integration are in the market. This is the URL of this one. Let's see if I go and type into the URL, this base URL. Oh, come on. This is the public API for public, freely data available. We do not have to provide any authentication here. So if I want to use this request here, test the request, what it will do is that it is successful connected, and then it is bringing the data from the third party, and then it is displaying the information here. Okay. So this is how we can, if someone has exposed their data, then we are going to bring the data. It has some relative path. If I remove this, I believe it will have more data. So you can see it says error processing the response. The response body could not be converted to the Appian value. So what we are doing here, we are converting this to the Appian value. If I change to the raw response, let's say what happened. It's a success again, and then we are getting all the information that is required from the third party. So it's a dummy data because here you can see this is a dummy data. This is what we are getting it from the third party information. So likewise, if someone has exposed their data to you, and if you wanted to reuse that, you need to provide the base URL, and then you also need to give the method. Which method is required? It's a get method or post method. Based on that, you want to have some authentication mechanism as well. Okay, so that's what the use of integration to bring the data from third party to Appian. And if you talk about the APIs, it means that to expose your data to Appian to third party. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Next we have documents. Documents are basically like if you want to have any template to be uploaded to your system, or any document is required, prerequisites are there to upload any document to the system. You can create a document out of it, and you can from your local system to Appian repository. You can create a document for it yourself. And then groups are basically is required to how can say like to restrict your application to be used by the different number of users. If we can give a security by using the groups. A group is a collection of users. A group may have one or more users to it. Let's say for example, if I generate a task and then I want to assign that task to a particular group, so any member who are the part of that group can see that task, but other members which are part of that application but not part of the group, they will not be able to see that particular task. So and group is also required for like whom you want to provide what kind of security label. If do you want to make them as a viewer, editor, or the system administrator within the application, not this is what your Appian environment for within the application. So we can define by using the group. So group type is basically is like you want to have a custom group, or it's a if you want to have some name kind of you know associate to your application specific wise. We can have the group type like only for this particular application, or it can be used throughout any other application. Do you want to create a group type for all the application is available inside your environment? So that is a group type, but it's very rarely used. But we will be using a group for our security, for the object security, for the task assignment and all. And then we see the feed, right? Feed is like it's not being used now, but as you see that in the tempo, the first tab was the feed. If you wanted to have any information to be displayed, we can use this feed object. And then we have folders. Folders are basically for the repositories, Appian repository, where we want to capture, because anything you save, right, that will require a folder to be, to have your data in a proper way. Let me give you an example of a folder. If I go here, so we have these many folders created in our applications. Like some folders will be like for document, it's a document folder. Some folder will be like a process model, so it's a process model folder. So there could be different types of folders. It can be document folder, process model folder, rule folder, and if you see this the purple one, it's a rule folder. And then we have a knowledge center. So knowledge center is basically the parent of all the folders. It's a kind of a repository parent. Inside that we can have multiple folders defined, document, rule, or other folders, where we can keep our objects, we can keep our documents, whichever is being used inside the application. Right? Any question for the objects that we have in Appian? No? All right. So anybody has thought of any use case? No? So how about if you go with the customer onboarding? We'll onboard a customer, we'll create an account for them, and we can also, if we, if you have some more time, we can go for the KYC. Is that okay for with everyone? We will have in this, we can have the initiate request process, and then we can also have the approval process with the manager, where managers can go and approve by seeing the request details, and everything. If everything looks okay, they can approve, or they can reset, or they can put on hold the request of customer onboarding. If anything is required, they can send back a request and then ask them, okay, can you please upload this thing, and all. We can see all those things, and everything looks okay, they can approve the request.
Can we go the finance side? Like most of the
So this
people
is the
are
finance
looking.
side only, right? Customer onboarding of
Okay,
creating an account.
okay,
Let's say
okay, right.
it's a banking, it's a bank where you are going to see how the process goes like in bank. You go and you provide your details, and they can create an account for you, right?
Yeah, loans are something they are people are real time they're asking like that.
Yeah,
That's
so
why
we can
I'm
ask
asking.
them what kind of account you wanted. You want a personal, saving account or loan account, those kind of information, right? And based on that, we can create the accounts, and then all things, right?
Yeah, yeah, okay, okay, right.
Right. So this is the use case we have decided, and we will be going to create this use case. So what I'll just need from you guys is think about the data model. What could be the data information we wanted to capture, and then what could be the tables we will require. Think about this, go through in your mind, or write it down somewhere, and then let's come with, and then we can start on this use case. And one more request from my end is that please be involved. Please don't be just a silent listener. Ask questions, because if you ask as number of questions, I can open myself more to explain you the things better, right? So please do ask the questions. Don't be just a silent listener. All right. Anything you want to know in today's session more? Because we have almost completed our demo things. We have completed. We talk about the Appian. We talk about how the Appian looks like. We talk about the Appian suits. We also talk about the Appian objects. Everything. So now I would like to start the actual training from the development perspective, and then we'll see how that goes with the use case of customer onboarding process. Right? Any questions, guys?
Ravi is after creating the any like interfaces or expression rules. So
Mm-hmm.
after that, where we have to these services we have to deploy the any
No, you
machines
don't
or
have to deploy. You don't have to deploy anything. So
Mhm.
we will be creating an action. We will be publishing an action to see all those changes. You don't have to deploy anywhere. Everything will be going to be within the app in itself. You do not have to use any other tool to deploy the objects or see the changes. Everything will be here itself. So do you guys
Okay.
have this access of this Appian environment? Have you guys? I mean, there might be some people are already working with organization. They may have that. Otherwise, because right now Appian is not providing the access environment for everyone because there are a lot of requests has been made recently, so they have stopped. So what I'll do, I'll just share my own credentials with you all, so you guys can start development. You can start the practicing in my environment. Okay. The only thing is that please do not share this outside with anyone else. Otherwise, there will be a lot of members will be they may misuse and all right. So keep it with you. And then yeah, I'll be sharing the details.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Do you guys have created your credentials in Appian community?
I have
Yes, sir,
created.
I do have, sir.
Okay.
Uh, I'm having some issue, and I need some information regarding this certification. So,
Mhm.
suppose actually I just gone through that licensing, sorry, the fee structure, right? If we will register from the company's account or the suppose where we are or the
If your
partner.
company is a partner of Appian, then you'll get a 50% of discount. You just have to pay $100. Otherwise, you have to pay $200.
But my question is related to suppose what is the validity for that particular certification?
Certification. Initially, it was 18 months, but now they have introduced a new feature. Like every release, they also release a course. If you complete that course, it will again extend to 3 months. So it is not never going to be expired.
But one more thing again. Suppose if I'm working in a particular company and
Mhm.
I just got the application, sorry, certification through that company. But later on,
Okay.
suppose if I want to, I just change the company and
Hmm.
I just wanted to, and my certification may might be expired. Then how that will be related, or how I can just activate that? Uh,
No, it doesn't
if,
expire, right? If you just switch the company, you just have to transfer your account from this particular email address to new email address. That's what you have to do. You can raise a request with the customer support, Appian customer support, that I'm switching my company. This was my previous email address. This is my new email address. They will link your account. So you don't have to do that. Your credential will be transferred to your new email address.
okay, then the certification will be invalidated in between.
Exactly.
Suppose if
Yes, exactly.
okay,
The certification is for you. It is completed
uh,
by you, not by your company, right? So it's
no, no,
related to
agreed,
you.
agreed. Yeah, so I thought that might
No,
be
no, it's not.
expired, right?
You can transfer your credentials from previous email to new email address,
Okay,
but don't never transfer your to your personal email address. Otherwise, Appian will not do that. They just check for the Appian,
okay, got
company's
it.
email address. Yeah, so don't transfer to your personal email address.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Sir, you said importing the Excel file. Is it the same for JSON?
Yes, yes. You can upload the JSON file or the Excel file. It's a file upload, right? In the file upload, you can upload the files, and we can read the files. We'll see one example for that one, Hamza.
All right.
Yeah. Whenever we are going to touch the documentation part, we'll see one example of that. Okay, guys, if there are no questions, then let's connect tomorrow and then we can continue the actual development. I will be sharing these account details onto the WhatsApp group. Not sure how many members are there, but yeah, I'll be sharing there. Okay. And then come tomorrow with some database model concept, like what are the tables you might think of, what is our application for our use case, so that we can start building. And please be interactive. That's what my only requirement from you guys. All right. Okay, then let me
Yeah,
connect
thank you.
tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you, Ravi.
Thank you.